to kill Social Security and Medicare. And it's really kind of two parts. The first part of the op-ed is talking about how Rick Scott and, well, actually, it's kind of right across the Republican board, but basically Rick Scott and Ron Johnson. Rick Scott, the multi-millionaire senator from Florida, the guy who used to be the president of the company that was convicted of the largest Medicare fraud in American history. Then he became Florida governor. Now he's the Florida senator, one of him and Rubio. And the other is Ron Johnson, the Republican senator from Wisconsin. And they're competing for who can destroy Social Security and Medicare the fastest. Rick Scott has proposed that Medicare and Social Security be voted on by Congress every 5 years to decide whether to continue funding the program. Ron Johnson has an even more aggressive program. He's saying just take them out of mandatory spending altogether and make them discretionary spending, so that literally every single year Congress has to vote on how much money they're going to put into Social Security and Medicare, and break that lockbox, that Social Security lockbox that Al Gore and George Bush were talking about so much back in 2000. Meanwhile, Rick Scott also wants, to raise taxes on working class people. Now, back when Ronald Reagan became president, only 18% of Americans made so little money that they didn't have to pay income taxes. 72% of Americans were in the middle class. 72% of Americans were making enough money in 1980 that they had to pay income taxes. By the and then of course Reagan came in and started the right to work for less movement all across the country, and attacked unions and started tearing down wages and benefits and all this kind of stuff. And so, again, in 1980, 72% of Americans were in the middle class and had to pay some taxes, income taxes on their income, because they were making a good enough paycheck. By 2012, when Mitt Romney was running against Barack Obama, he famously pointed out that we were down to only 47% of Americans making so little money that they didn't have to pay income taxes. And only 53% of Americans in 2012 were in the middle class and paying income taxes. Today, it's 61% of Americans not paying income taxes because they're no longer in the middle class, and only 49% of Americans are still in the middle class. The middle class is no longer the middle. The middle class is now becoming kind of the lower top of the economic order. And Rick Scott has this plan. Now, 61% of Americans are making so little money that they can't pay their rent, they can't afford food. But Rick Scott is saying, hey, we want to tax these people. We want to hit them with a tax, a special tax for low-income people, so that everybody has skin in the game, is the phrase that he's using. So how should Democrats respond to this, which is the second part of my op-ed today over at HartmannReport.com. And my suggestion is that we should roll back the Reagan tax increases. Reagan, prior to Ronald Reagan, from 1935, when Social Security was put into law, until the Reagan administration, there was no income tax on Social Security benefits. None. After all, it's your retirement, right? And you paid into it throughout your life. There was no income tax. Reagan put an income tax on that. I'm saying Democrats should propose to end the income tax on Social Security income. Unemployment benefits had no taxes on them up until Reagan. Reagan directed the IRS to start collecting taxes from unemployment benefits. And tips. Although tips were technically taxable, it wasn't until 1988 that the IRS even required employers to report tips. They did this at the request of Ronald Reagan himself in 1988. So I'm saying what Congress should do, what Democrats in Congress should do, is end the income tax on Social Security, end the income tax on unemployment benefits, and end the income tax on tips, which are gratuities. They're not income. They're not wages. And I think that that would be a great way to counter Rick Scott and Ron Johnson and the whole bunch of Republican multimillionaires in the Senate who want to not only destroy Medicare and Social Security, but also want to raise taxes on the 61% of Americans who have fallen out of the middle class, are struggling to pay for food and rent, and now Ron Johnson and Rick Scott want to tax them. They want to come up with a whole brand new personal income tax just for low-income Americans. Just like Reagan came up with a whole brand new personal income tax just for people on unemployment or just for people on Social Security. I think we need to not only call it out, but push back. What say you?